You look beautiful. What's up, everybody? Episode 19 of Skorch the Fears. It is amazing. We have the amazing Chad Glover. This dude is amazing. I love this guy. He's absolutely hilarious and just a beast real estate investor in general. And I'm just excited I finally got you on here. Because we were struggling for a while. We were trying to get you on here, but you're here now. We're so happy about it. I also want to announce and shout out my boys Juan and Kevin, who are dope guys. They got me a mic, so it's gonna be cool. I'm gonna see if it does anything, because I hope it does. Like, I hope it makes me sound doper, but it for sure makes me look more professional, which is sick. And that's all that matters, is my own ego and how it looks. So getting into it, my man. How you been? It's been a minute.
Oh man, pretty good, man. I definitely never would complain if there was a complaint, but it's been good, man. Straight up.
I love it. So my guy, we'll start it off with the classic question. How did you get into real estate?
Man.
Wait, hold on. Before you answer that, I should introduce you way more than I did. You're a sub 2 student. We met at the mastermind, and sub 2, we knew each other before that, but we met in person at the mastermind about, 3.5 months ago now. I know it because I've been doing this for about 3.5 months, and Case inspired us to do more social.
Yeah, it was the premiere first.
Right.
The mastermind is when we.
Yeah.
More time.
Right. Yeah, true. I remember that also. But dude, quickly, just tell the people what you're doing in your business. What is your business? What are you focusing on? Stuff like that.
Mine is primarily acquisitions as well as JV dispositions as well. And what I primarily is looking to focusing on and has been doing has been direct model, now agent outreach as well, and JV and buyers, and now I'm funding.
Okay, so you're just doing everything?
It
sounds like you're doing everything.
Everywhere. And then an apartment investing. That's my underlying.
Damn, bro. Yeah. Okay, so you're doing all sorts of crazy stuff. It sounds like you're doing every single method possible. What markets are you doing it in?
North Carolina, Atlanta area, anything Georgia, not too rural. Tennessee, Memphis only is where I've been basically at. And Florida, I just jumped into that market direct, as well as Texas.
I love it, bro.
Yeah. Disposition-wise, it's anything the sunbelt state, because I have people there, and my buyers love those.
You say dispositions like you're Dispo wholesaling, right?
Disposition wholesaling, yeah. For those who want buyers. And then funding, we done started a funding arm. So I'm just rolling that out there kind of slow, So.
Okay, we're going to get into that because I always need funding. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But let's start with your story, bro. So how did Chad Glover get into real estate?
It's always been a thing that you wanted. Coming from where I come from, I'm from the south side of Statesville. So therefore it wasn't a lot.
Where is that? I have no idea. I grew up in California.
Outside, it's outside of Charlotte. It's basically Charlotte, North Carolina is always known as the largest city in North Carolina. I never wanted to live in the city like that. I'm always outskirts. So I'm about 35 minutes from Charlotte, So Statesville sits in between. It's the only city that has the crossroads of I-40 as well as 77. So it's like a hub. Everything comes
rural North Carolina.
Yeah, it ain't in the rural when you think of country.
Okay, I gotcha.
City, then it's
outside of the city. I got you.
Right. So that's where I grew up at, man. It's on the south side. And my grandmother had 12 kids. One passed away when she was younger, so 13 total.
Damn.
My mom had me at a young age.
Wait, sorry, your grandma had 13 kids? I think I knew this. Yeah. That's such a crazy family. And then wait, how many did your mom have?
She only had 2. Yeah, me and my sister only 2. Yeah.
So tons of, what would that be? A ridiculous amount of cousins.
Yeah.
Amount of cousins.
Yeah. So
how many cousins do you have?
I have no idea, bro. It's impossible.
I literally don't know.
It's impossible. But Yeah,
I
we
love
all
that.
together though. Like from here, it's like it's a tight knit group. We got family stuff all the time, but for the most part, we come together like Voltron, as they say. So, but yeah, man, it wasn't a thing that you had back then. My grandmother did though. She was always the. I used to think she owned a store. Come to find out, it was one of them outside joints. Where you got the partying going on and stuff like that. But I thought it was a store. That's all she was known for, entrepreneur. And
Right.
she had a house, right? But for my grandmother, we didn't. That was her
Okay.
mom, great grandma. Yeah, she always was. That's what she did, and she's always been had that entrepreneurial spirit. So when I seen like properties, like everybody getting it, was like we didn't know that, but eventually I always had a vision that what I wanted, right? No matter what's that, I always looked ahead, right? As far as what my life should be. As a kid, of course, I ain't too far down the road. You only want what you want at that time instead of just the comfort stuff. And even though we had that big large family, it was always a lot of love, a lot of comfort, and we was good, right? But growing up, and I'm gonna fast forward, trying to get to what got me really started was
Wait, hold on. I want to stop you just because this is a mindset podcast, and I am the host of the podcast, so I'm gonna ask things that make me curious, even if it's
yeah.
not necessarily real estate related.
Mhm.
How is it having that big of a family? I'm just
Beautiful.
so curious.
It's nice. It's different now because I see the demographics of family and stuff is kind of different from back then. So it's not those large, many. You don't hear that,
Right.
right? So, but back then, man, it was beautiful. Like them,
Yeah.
the best times right there. Because
Because
as
everyone lived in the same city, right?
yeah, the same city,
That's so
sometimes the same
crazy.
house. Because that's how it was, right? It
You say the
was
same house?
at some points it was the same house. Of course,
That's
the
crazy.
uncles, they're always the uncles, right? They was out of the house, they was in and out, because
Mhm.
they men, so they moved different. But
Right.
for the most part, I was in there with my aunts, man, and my mom, and my, of course, the youngest son was, God bless me, he passed away a long time
Mhm.
when I was the closest with. But he was there sometime, but the rest they was gone. They was already doing their thing and moving on, and so it wasn't just me, my grandma, and my mom, couple aunts, and that was it. But when it was food, dinner time, breakfast, they would be
So
there.
crazy. Like
Yeah,
just such a huge table of people.
yeah, yeah. We always had the big, huge wooden joint, tables that they don't make anymore. So yeah,
Right.
it was nice. That was beautiful, man, and I think that's what cultivated that. I
What do
noticed
you think?
stuff.
How do you think that affected your entrepreneurial journey, having like a huge family? Because something in me tells me that there might be some sort of connection. I don't know. I kind of
Yeah.
curious.
100% it is. It creates the drive, you know.
Mm,
Motivation, this is what I like to tell people about motivation is something that I can say something inspiring. You do all the time on your podcast. It
right.
makes you get motivated and move. But motivation wanes, right? But when you
Right.
get a drive, that's more connected to
Right.
the spirit side of you, right? So the drive is there regardless of what's happening that day. Sometimes you want to get out of bed, you're gonna go get it because you have a drive. You have
Mhm.
a somewhere you want to go. So
Right.
having large group of family and seeing the things we come up around made it me okay. I know it's more. I'm gonna go get more when I get these opportunities, and that's what's in me. That's why I know I was always visionary when that coin wasn't even a thing to me. Right,
Mm,
the drive, bro, is just having all those people, having my mom, my sister, my younger sister. I always wanted to take care of her, make sure she was good and things
gotcha.
from a young age.
Right. Right. So basically, it made it where you were like, I want to take care of everybody. I want to be able to feed all of the family.
Yeah, my mom, my
Mm.
sister, my grandmother, and then that was it. The sister, and aunts, and cousins, like uncles, they was on doing their thing.
Yeah. That's a lot of people.
Yeah,
We don't
yeah,
need to feed everybody.
yeah, yeah. You can't take care of everybody, but
You're
you
right.
do your
I
part.
like it.
Yeah,
I like it. Cool. So like what is your why? Is it just your family? Are there any other ones? Like I totally know what you mean by like motivation. You're right. It like comes in and out, but then you might
mhm,
have like a shitty day and you're like, damn, like I just don't want to do this today. And I definitely know what you mean is in like what really keeps you going is remembering the why and
uh,
whatever you want to call it, whether drive or whatever it
mhm.
is. Um, so I'm curious. So what is your drive? Is it just family or is there anything else? Or I want to
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, it's most definitely like when the I ain't gonna say the cliche because it's a real thing when people say family. That's
Right.
100% comes. That's like default button.
Right.
Of course, my wife, doing things to make us have this different. We great right now, right? But it's so when you think of why, to me, it's the other people, it's the world, right? So how do I impact, not influence, but impact 7 billion people? How do you able to do that? And
Right.
not change them, right? Because I'm not here to change you. I'm here to impact you. So impact to me is a shift, but it's a shift in your direction, not what I want you to go in,
Mm. Go
right?
more into that.
Yes. Like when people say, yo, I don't you kind of hear it when you with people. Like, I don't want you to change me. You trying to change how I think, right? Because you're trying to control them, evidently.
Mm.
Ultimately, you're trying to control them a little bit. Well, when I say impact, it's to awaken, right? Inspire, so that inspiration pulls out your natural gift. We each have a gift inside of us. Each have a purpose attached to that gift. So if I can impact you to make you shift and awaken that thing inside, then
Mm.
home as a combination and everybody coming together, not a whole world like everybody in Russia ain't gonna be in Statesville, North Carolina,
Right. I get it.
right? But everybody can have an idea of something they can make a positive impact to alleviate a ton of stuff. Because the ultimate thing of the highest emotion is love at the end of the day.
So
So
true.
yeah, so when you manifest, then love has to be attached. When you visualize it, love is what brings it about. So that's the highest form. So that's the one thing that keeps me going, is stand and to make it on a real localized level. That's why I created a nonprofit. It's to teach the
I
youth.
didn't know that. What's your nonprofit?
It's called YEP, Youth Enrichment Program. Yep, for it's the acronym. Yep. And I got the idea from every time you ask a kid something, and they be like, "Yep, yep." You can tell they telling the truth, right? They read it when they say yes or yeah, whatever. They ain't really with it. So I said, "Oh, yeah, Youth Enrichment
I
Program."
love it.
Yeah, so I'm kicking that off. It was actually in the pandemic when it
Okay.
started, got shut down due to the restrictions and
Say
stuff
it
like that.
again. What does it do?
It's gonna be mentoring, but it's coding just for creativity. Cause not to go too far, cause I can get off track. But
No,
imagine
this is my
this.
podcast and I'm asking you about it. So
Oh,
go
thank
too far.
yeah, thank you, bro. So imagination is something as a kid you had. As you grow
Mm.
old, you kind of lose it, right? And then
Right.
other life stuff. But if you can still dream and then you can imagine, because anything you think of, you truly can have. Once you see it, I believe it's 100%. If I see something that come in my mind and it's something that, oh shoot, it's gonna spark me, I know I can achieve it because I got the vision. It's just that
Mhm.
when you share it to people, that no, that don't work. So now you create doubt, and that's why you don't attract it. You don't have
Right.
faith in it. You don't pray towards it, whatever, right? So that's basically what I want to do with the Youth Vision program. If you start, say me and you that's born on the same city but different sides. So now we meet or see each other in public. We may not even had this deeper of a conversation. But if we grew up and then the people around you didn't that's with you never knew me, yeah, that's Chad. Oh, cool. So now it creates this automatic connection. So imagine that world like that. Imagine the world growing or your localized city growing up with none of those differences. It kind of drops down the classism, the racism, all of this ism stuff,
Mhm.
right? And make it be what we was created to be, because everybody has a connection.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Do you think, because you're also older than me, and then
yeah,
also you grew up in North Carolina when
yeah.
I grew up in California. So in California, I'll be honest, like, to me, there was no, like, this side of the town and, like, that side of the town, and,
Mm-hmm.
like, people, at least in my mind, I never saw it as, like, people being crazy different. Like, I did know, I mean, it's like, maybe I just didn't think of it as a kid, but there were definitely, like, worse parts of town than better parts of town. So is your idea of just kinda, like, bringing, like you said, like, whether, like, white kids, black kids, like, richer kids, poorer kids, and kinda bringing them together and seeing each other's perspectives and imagining together, is that the idea?
100%.
I
And the
love
thing
it.
is that just like our community and stuff too, we have different people in different parts of real estate, but
Right.
they give, which in turn pulls up the next person, right? And then we all come on this playing ground to where everybody want to be at, right? Everybody have a level that they want to be. everybody don't want to be a CEO. They
Uh-huh.
comfortable with just doing their work, right? So that's the same combination that at least give you the knowledge and the tools, the resources to have a choice and have hope, right? Because sometimes in these urban environments, what spurns violence, what spurns all of this despair is hope. It's the lack of hope. No resource, no idea of you can do something other than what you see, you know?
Right.
That be the common theme. So my thing is I think that's one of my, I know 100% that's one of my purposes is to give out what I have and help this generation or other generation to come from my experiences, you know?
Right. You can tell me if you don't want to get into any of these experiences, but it's fascinating to me because I won't lie. I came from what I consider a pretty privileged background. Like my
Yeah.
mom was upper middle class, I'd say. My dad was lower middle class, but like I would never say we were poor in any way. And
Mm.
I'm curious, like, because it sounds like, at least in my head, when I think of like a family in like, not like just in North Carolina, there's like one grandma and like 13 kids, that
Yeah.
it's like a completely different world than like what I personally grew up in. You were talking about not being able to imagine in a way, and like not being able to how do I say it? Like you only saw certain things, so there was like only a certain way of thinking. And you can tell me if I'm wrong. I'm just trying to pick up on what you're saying. And then what I want to draw out of it is was like what what was thought of as your future, like when you were a kid? Like what did everyone be like, okay, so Chad's gonna be a, I don't know, firefighter, mechanic, like whatever. Like he like real estate, like what is this? Like becoming a millionaire? Like what is this? My assumption is that you're like people in a smaller town would be like, this is like they can't even imagine making that much money. And then so I get where I'm just like going off right now. My question is my question is like what was it like growing up where it was hard for people to see an entrepreneurial journey like you're on right now to towards millions?
I wouldn't say that it was hard for people because it was, you know. I knew people that were super successful. My
Okay,
grandma
nice.
was one that worked, you know. So wasn't that my idea was to eventually. I didn't lose the imagination. That's the thing I always had. I always had a
Love
vision,
it.
but I had to grow up kind of faster. So it was more so like, oh, I'm gonna get it, but I didn't know what that looked like, right? So
Mm,
it's like, okay, I'm gonna go to college. That was my thing, right?
right.
Because I like to do certain stuff. I like to like think, like
Mhm.
anything dealing with like engineering type stuff. When I didn't realize that was the thing until I was um, in high school, and they talked about engineers is coming. Oh, that's what I want, you know.
Mm,
Then of course graduated, didn't never go. I went to an IT, which is basically engineering and all of that, right?
right.
So that was
Computer.
my passion. That's what I always liked to tinker with. And
Hmm.
then it was in the Navy. But then I'm like, I'm not going to the Navy. Cause what did
Yeah.
I that it was involved with it's just around the streets, you know, for like it's just what it was. This is the people that were super successful and the cliche success,
Right.
right? They had tons of stuff. And then you had and then businessmen that I knew that wasn't I thought their trajectory was college, right? But
Right.
it wasn't that. It was what we know as to be entrepreneurship. So I was always doing something to make money as a kid, whether it was
I love it.
papers, lemonade stand, something, whatever.
Purebred.
Yeah, yeah. So that was I think Springs, and it was definitely a lot of people that like with the family and the uncles, they was out there already. So they was known and all of this. So it was like a
Nice.
of course, you know, default at some point. And that's what led me into it. Like that was the only thing you've seen, the successful ones that had this. Then of course the other side that had all this other stuff, right? So of course I maneuvered and had all this things that I acquired from those things. So I never lost the imaginative part. I knew it was always something more, you know. But I was like you taking a shorter route when you go through what I done. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah, I love it.
100%.
I
Yeah.
love it. I just didn't want you to skip over that part. So,
Oh,
all right,
love it, man.
keep going. So, Chad graduates from high school. He's thinking about going to college, thinking about going into the Navy. Doesn't do either, it sounds like. What does he do?
The thing that I grew up on, green that I seen out the front porch, was
Okay.
my uncles, what they was involved in. You know, that was just the streets. You know, it
Okay.
was me hustling. It was me doing stuff just on my own, figuring out things to make money with, you know. And then it was like, oh shoot, it's this thing right here that you can get involved with. And that's when it's like, oh, this is a whole nother world right here. So
Real
now
estate.
I meet tons of different stuff. And then even being that journey of being dealing with like the streets and that urban type of environment, I started seeing signs like, bro, how's they buying all these houses, right? I'm literally, this is the South Side. Who on the South Side buying these houses? You know what I mean? But I found out there was the bandit signs, you know? And
Okay.
that's what they were. I never knew what that was, you know? It was so hush-hush back then. Wholesaling was not a topic of.
When was this?
This was early, like 90s, late 90s, then early late 90s, mid 90s, you know?
Interesting.
Yeah, I started seeing them like we buy houses. Like who is buying them? Because I want to meet this person. Because I'm trying to figure out. Once again, I'm
How to buy
always
houses.
yeah, because I know real estate and what it would do. You know, this pathway to wealth, basically. And I was like, I need to know that person. You know, call them up. You know, and just talk to them. Hey, you know what you do, and they never would get too deep because of course I'm a kid. I don't know what to ask these people. You know, but learning, I got the information from Mark Whitten. That's the one name I'm gonna drop outside of, you know,
Mark who?
Mark Whitten. He's a
Mark
guy
Wynn.
in Baltimore, yep, out of Baltimore, Maryland, and he was on a podcast, man. And bro, when he said he can take a piece of paper to title company, get another piece of paper, take that to title company, and get $10,000, that's what it is. Clicked. I said, oh, that's real. That's how I can get in. And then
I
I
love
jumped
it.
into it, man. I followed the people that was local because now it's kind of known. Max Maxwell, he literally 45 minutes away. Nas, he was DMing me about properties a minute ago. The real estate duo, he was just DMing me.
Oh, really? That's dope. I follow him. He's a cool. He seems like a cool guy.
Yeah, if I could tell you how he read the text, you can hear his personality in his reply. Super funny, man. But yeah, that's it, man. That's how I got started. It was the trajectory of going through what I went through and like really pushing through it. That's what this stand for, bro. That win. Win stand for we here right now, right? Don't worry
Oh, I
about
love that.
don't worry about yesterday. Those are just lessons, right? It's today that matter and what you're going towards, right? And that's
I
what
love it.
pushing, bro. So
I love it. I have so many questions, dude. So first off, you found it about it in 98 is what you said?
yeah, no, I literally when I really, really, really found out, like when I deep dive into it, it was 2019, something like that. 2000.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
it had been kind of on your radar from
Right.
98 and you're like, "Okay, I don't know about this. I don't know what this is."
Yeah.
And then there was like a slow progression where you were, like you said in your words, on the streets, kind of just hustling, doing like it sounds like side hustles and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2019, what changed? What happened?
It was before 2019. I used to do this thing. I had like a LLC to where I could partner with this thing, this call center, whatever, and I could work for like Sprint, AT&T, right? And it'd be my company, and then I could hire people, right? So I used to hire just one worker to work up under it. So I'm basically with I don't know a temp agency. So if it's 10, I'm paying them $10, but I'm really getting $14 or $12, right?
Oh,
And
that's cool.
yeah. So I was doing that too. And then I was selling DVDs. I had a whole distribution of DVDs, bro, when it was DVD time. So you
Yeah,
can
that's crazy.
so that don't really work in today's
Yeah, that wouldn't be a good business model today.
But guess what model I pivoted into though? Fire sticks. I learned how to program fire sticks. Really good. So
Oh, damn.
with free cable. Oh, should I say this on live? I don't know. But whatever.
It's okay.
Like free cable. All
Yeah, whatever.
everything. So I get all of this stuff and I would program them, and now that became the thing because it's just the part of the hustle, bro. It's just what
I love it.
is. And then the time that it's like when I seen that Breakfast Club interview. I said, oh, that's it. And then I started deep diving. But before then, I used to ask people
What
about
Breakfast Club interview?
with Mark Whitten.
Oh, okay. So we went on Breakfast Club.
Yeah, I was actually, I don't
Damn.
know if I was on YouTube and I looked at a Breakfast Club interview because I was never big into like just wasting time social media, but something like just look at YouTube, everybody to talk about it. I was just never on that.
Right.
And then I came upon that because I used to like listening to the news through hip hop lens, whatever.
Right.
Yeah. And then that's when I seen him on there, bro. And that's when I really jumped head first and just
So he was talking about wholesaling on that?
he was talking about wholesaling. That's what he was
That's
talking.
crazy.
He was
I
talking
love
about
that.
he was talking about wholesaling, and he was talking about how he used wholesaling to buy and hold, and then put them on Section 8, and he literally created a whole empire off of that.
I love that because what I feel like, I don't know, it seems to me, at least what I've seen in the industry, like on social media, there's a lot about wholesaling. I haven't seen that much. I don't know. Like I haven't actually watched Triple Digit Flip that much, but from what I saw in the premiere, I feel like they don't talk. I don't know if you've watched it. I don't, and I could be totally wrong, so somebody can like correct me. But I haven't seen that much about wholesaling. I feel like I really want wholesaling to become more popular so that people understand what it is better. Because I feel like if you talk to anybody about it who isn't in real estate, they have no idea what the hell you're talking about. They're like, that doesn't really make sense. It sounds like you're a realtor or like whatever. And I'm like, no. Here's the difference. Like I gotta solve a problem that's like foreclosure or something like that. So anywho, it just makes me feel good to hear that like there are people on the Breakfast Club talking about wholesaling. I like that.
Yeah, 100%.
So going into it, so you hear the Breakfast Club. What's the next step? You type in wholesaling into Google.
Wholesaling in the YouTube.
Okay.
Second best search engine in the world. So I typed it in, man, but I typed in the Mark Whitten though. He had something like a 4-week thing to where he basically have a webinar broken down over weeks. Just took clips of the recording and you just followed it, and that's what I deep dove in it. I started calling from my phone and doing stuff like I started following all these guys. Max Maxwell. That's when Max Maxwell was literally just
Popping off.
too far. He was telling his story how he was actually in debt, $300 and some dollars, right?
Right.
Like 5 years ago. So we know Max Maxwell what he is today from his grind and everything. So I was like, this is it, And I love real estate, what it do in terms of the passive income, as far as wealth too. And coming from just the background and history of real estate, when it comes to Black people in general, we couldn't buy it, so that was more passion. It's even in some of the deeds still, like how you see you can't sell to us, but which is null and void. But it was a passion of that too, to kind of change the narrative of it, and that's how I want to bridge the gap. Like people just like you and I, we don't see that, but we know it's existing, right?
Right.
So that's one of my drives with it, man. I went through it real heavy. On deep dove, I got into another course, was virtual real estate, because the pandemic hit. When I was picking up, like, yo, pandemic, boom, slam. So I said, oh shoot, now we're through now.
Hold on. I'm gonna compliment you what I love so far about your entrepreneurial journey. It's like DVDs aren't a thing. All right, Fire Sticks. We're switching up the entire business. We ain't staying in this dying industry. The hell, pandemic. All right, we're going virtual. Nobody's doing this door knocking, I guess, or whatever. I just love it. It's funny to see.
Yeah, it's like always finding something to add on and do when you truly want it. That's why I say you gotta have drive, and your drive comes from the passion. So I love the real estate because it's tied to helping people. If it wasn't tied to that, it'd be super boring. It'd be too technical.
Right.
But it's people. It's you had that connection with people, So when I got in that virtual thing, I think the top thing I took from it, and this is no knock on them, nothing like that, but it was the DocuSign. When I figured out that part, I didn't know about DocuSign, and that I took that piece and I got my first deal in Memphis. I've never been to Memphis ever.
Nice.
So, yeah, and ever since then it's been out to the races, man.
Talk a little bit about your first deal. What happened? What was the situation?
Oh man, I'm gonna do it, bro. I take action. So it actually, come with stakes, so you fail forward. So what
Right.
happened was when I contracted the property, I had it at a great price. Like I said, man, I'm about to make like 10 grand. Like the thing did. Only thing I knew was 10,000. I don't know about 20, 35, none of that. My mark is 10. That's it. So when I was dispositioning it, I was assigning it for the people who don't know what that is. I was assigning it to an end buyer, the one that's gonna get the contract. I started getting connected to that community, the city. So now I got a guy, and he was telling me like, "Hey, that property you at is basically in a war zone, right? It's like really bad over there." And
Oh,
oh shoot, so he's saying that. I was like, "Well, okay, but it's still comp. The comp sold right here for 150, the comparable sale." He say, "No, that's a hood house, and it's across this road. All this stuff. I don't know, you know." So I said, "Oh shoot!" So now I'm scrambling to get the buyers out, come
what
to
was
my
the seller situation?
the seller situation. Just a tired landlord, right? It
Okay.
was a failed listing when you could get failed listings from prop stream, and they tried to list it, but in Memphis, bro, they take everything. Like they took copper out of the walls. They did some crazy stuff. They go in the walls. I mean, it was literally like
What do you
holes,
mean, like robbers?
like robbers, whatever they is. I don't know. But they like whatever the outlet was at, you can see it's holes around it. So they know where
Damn.
the electrical at. They know where the the copper wiring. They know everything. They knocking out strategic holes. And I
Damn.
could see it in the pictures, and she was like tired, man. So I got it, did her really solved her problem in terms of she didn't know what to do with it, didn't have nobody to do nothing with. And I gained her trust, man, by once again I had no script. I don't know nothing except just talking to people. And
I'm gonna pause this for a second just because I love so much that I think something that like this is like the thing that like I think I have a little bit of this too. And I think like these make some of the greatest entrepreneurs are the ones who are like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and we're gonna keep doing things. And then once there's something I need to deal with, then
right,
I'm gonna go find it out. I'm not gonna try to do like the whole analyzing, try to know every single thing that could possibly pop up. You're not. It's physically impossible to understand exactly what's gonna happen every single time. And I love hearing this where you're just like, yep, we did it. We saw some things. I tried to figure this out and I didn't even know this was possible or like whatever. So I want to compliment you on the fact that like you're the exact opposite of analysis paralysis. You're just like we're going full in and we're gonna keep banging our head until uh, we break this wall, which is I like it. I
yeah,
love it.
I appreciate that, bro. I think that's the some of the things that separate a lot of us too. You know,
Mhm.
like what you said, I agree with that 100%. I
Yeah,
had an iPhone. I didn't go buy a dollar. I didn't go buy all of these VAs, none of that, because I understand what an analysis, analysis paralysis does, right? I'm getting all these systems, I'm gonna back up. It's too easy. I was like,
right.
hey Siri, dial bump 123, whatever, right? That's how I got my first deal. Not a dollar, none of that. I was literally
Were
on my
you literally just cold calling with your phone?
with my phone. Like,
Damn, bro.
and the thing is, and this is why I tell people when I did a course that I put on my YouTube page, I like literally you had all the resources in front of you, and these people don't know you are on the system. They don't expect you to be dialing from your phone too. So don't overthink it, right? They don't think this your number. They're not gonna blow you up. And if they do, block them. That's what the cell phone feature for. You don't have to see it, right? But literally, bro, that's how I got them. With that first deal was just like that, and really my second deal, which was well not my second deal, but one of the largest deal I ever had was 18 grand
I
a.
love it.
It was a text that come through my phone. I texted her through my phone, and it come back through my phone, and I
I love
called her
that.
from my phone. Right? It was none of this fancy stuff. You know, I
I
got
love it so much.
yeah, but it's just about the work, man, consistency, and you get rewarded. That's what it boiled down to.
It's the grind, dude. It's the entrepreneurial grind and like just figuring it the hell out and stop worrying about all the resources. It's the same thing with this podcast. I didn't have any fancy mics until right now when
Yeah,
somebody gifted it to me. It's like,
mm,
all right, I'm gonna go talk to people who are doing dope things and I'm gonna see what they're about.
and
Just
through,
ask some questions.
and it's coming. It's come down to that. Everything will come. It's just about the value you give. It's the fear you talk about
That's
overcoming.
what it is.
That's the value, bro.
Yeah.
The setup.
Talk about that for a second. I'm going off the rails with your first wholesale deal, but I'm curious. Like, go more into why give value? Why not? Because like I feel like a lot of people when they think it's like, okay, that's great. It's good to be kumbaya and all that stuff and just, like be like willing to give stuff. That's really nice of you, but like why would I ever do that? Like isn't that gonna screw me in the end if my competition just knows everything that I've learned?
I think that mentality is truly that scarcity mindset. You
Mm-hmm.
know, when you always think abundant, like I never thought, even when it was less, that was it, right? So naturally, I'm gonna come to this place I'm at. Like I visualized this house. I went in, I seen it, I went inside of one, and then I created it, right? Through the power of God giving me the gifts and everything, resources. So when you give back, whatever it is, like what small amount, you don't have to be Jonah, for example. You don't have to be where you at. You can be starting out, but you give what you just learned to someone else, it's going to compound you naturally. That's what you're
Mm-hmm.
going to get back, because it's like if you're grateful, I had to have gratitude for what I have in order to gain more, to get grateful for other things. So the same thing with information is why I give it so freely. It's like, wow, I know you're going to get this regardless, right? If it's meant for you to have, you're going to get it. So who
Right.
is me to stand in the way of something that you're going to get anyway? Why don't I be an assistance to it and just a part of your journey? That's the emotional income for me. And then you in turn see they want to be more around you because they see what type of personality you have. More so give more than take. Even if I'm people in partnership with, I try to give way more. I try to make sure that they get more information, whatever they need, or whatever, just over deliver. Right? That's what I aim to do. So it makes
I
you
love it.
to never ever think that because you know something that you should hoard it and this person won't get it anyway, because they gonna get it and they just gonna remember who done them the way they got done it.
And also, it's just like like it's something I've noticed too is like the more you give, like the universe can't help but give back to you. It's like almost like a law of the
Mhm.
universe or something. Like
Yeah,
I've noticed, like if I start giving, it's like physically impossible. I don't get anything, or I don't get something back.
yeah,
So it's almost like a selfish thing. Like it isn't a selfish thing, but like even for those types of people who have trouble with it, you should think of it as a selfish thing if you're having trouble with like just giving in general, or like you don't have like that
yeah,
nature.
yeah, 100%. That's laws. It's in text if people are religious or whatever
Right,
text, and if not, you typically follow the law of attraction and you still understand it, right? So,
right.
yeah, 100%, man.
I love it. So I completely interrupted you. So we're on your first deal.
Yeah. So yeah, I got it under contract. Did the whole thing Mark said, taking account height, but ran into basically I comped it wrong, which was one, and didn't meaning that I crossed this major road and all of this. But I eventually connected with a realtor, right? Even before I'd used them to the degree I use now, right? Connected with the realtor and she brought the buyer. Say, hey, I got this buyer. And first she said 5,000. I had somebody higher. I said, okay, hold up. So I have someone else, and that one didn't go right. And now that buyer left, and now she brought another one that ended up being 16,000, and I had it on a contract for 15. So my first contract was $1,000, but I say,
Right.
oh, I knew it was real. I knew that
Proof
yeah,
of concept.
yeah, it's proof it's real. So let's go. That's what I was at with it.
I love it.
Mhm.
So you're obviously incredibly successful now, right? Like just absolutely killing it from what I'm seeing. Like I love watching your YouTube videos from time to time. Like
Mhm.
they're pretty cool. Um, what so hold on. What is this? This is just because my mind does this. So the win,
Mhm.
what made you start doing like your own branding, or like what made you start because you have hats on it now, like what made you start doing that and uh starting to create your own brand?
It comes from the whole part of purpose and passion that I have of wanting to pull people up. Right. I
Right,
remember probably 2, 3 years ago, I inboxed Burton out of condo from Prop Stream. I can't even remember why I inboxed him. Matter of fact, but I think it has something to do with just how can I connect with him and how can I get him to teach people what I done been on other people's webinars and seen him do to my people, the one that don't know about this stuff that I want to reach and give. When I say my people, I just mean the people that's around here, not a race thing or nothing like that.
In North Carolina.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know what this is. Literally, they don't. And
I have
some
no idea.
they don't know. So I like, Burton, this is what I want to do, man. My goal is just to teach it. Like, I don't want to make nothing. You know, if I do create something, it got to be super epic, but I'm not on it. I want to give what I know to people. And it was like, when? I was like, we here right now. Like, right here is really getting to it. And that's where it was born. I just never conceptualized it. Now, when I go to the mastermind, and all the times I done talk to Pace, he always say you need to be loud, right? Let people know you are. Brand yourself, do this, create this. And he really drilled that. And they were like, okay, I got to do this from the mastermind. This is what I need to
I
do.
love it.
And I came back and was it master? Yeah, right after that, my wife got a shirtwaist. I don't have the hoodie on right now, but the hoodie on I have my profile picture that I was with Pace, and he took the photo of me while I was going over some stuff, and it has the arms. See, this means like it's really two pieces.
Yeah, I saw that. It's like the hand. It's like that symbol, right?
Yeah, it's like this though.
Oh,
It
my
ain't.
bad.
Yeah. So this means peace. So it's taking two pieces, right? You have two peace signs, right?
Right.
And yeah, so that's the culmination. So what creates a level of peace? It's not worrying about yesterday, right? Don't let that bog you down. It's a lesson. It's gone. Can't get it back. 10 years ago, it's gone. Just focus on today and what's in the head of you, and you have a level of peace, and anxiety kind of drops down, and just go towards what you at. So that's where that two symbols come from. It's like peace, because that's what I want to cultivate. A place where it's just calm, it's peace, it's just love. Everybody just vibing with one another, and none of this other stuff is not a part of that. And that's why, and you notice it has a frequency up under it. That's the energy, right? That's what that squiggly line is. I know it look kind of funny, but that's what that represents. It's that energy. We want to be on the same wavelength and the same energy, getting out good energy, so we all can move toward whatever goal you want to move towards as collectively, though. That's the key.
I love this because this is something that I do too. When I really try, when I'm doing something, I try to make the symbolism of something. Like I can tell, because I've done this before, how much you thought about, okay, what does this mean if I put two peace signs together? What it means if I have win here, we hear right now, like what that represents, and what does this squiggly line represent? Like how you have to, like how powerful it is to come up with symbols that represent what you're about. Pace is sub 2, like it's a peace sign, and also it's sub 2.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is, what's your process with coming up with like symbols and acronyms? Because you do it with your nonprofit too. Like, I'm curious, like, what's your process for creating symbolism and coming up with meaning for what you're trying to do?
It has to be connected first to the purpose. Truly, like the goal, like I say, even with the nonprofit, was to have a level of authenticity and truth, and creating something and culminating a whole world of what you want it to be, as well as cultivating a new mindset inside of it. Because that's what it's got to start at. It has to hit the mind good. So that's definitely where it was coming from. So with that, it was like, okay, when a person is being honest as a kid, they say, yep. They shout it, like they jump up, say, yep, and youth enrichment. And that's how it clicked. And then if you see my logo, it's a hand. So the hand has each color symbol: white, black, red, brown, yellow. And then in the middle is a swirl. So we all together. That's what it represents. So the hand is like this, like raised up, but it's in the color scheme. So all these different races come together, and we together in this palm, this melting pot, for lack of a better word, of us together. And if you pull it together like a fish, but this isn't on there, but when I give talk, this is how I'm gonna describe it. When you clench it, now that's really strong, right? Spread out like this is one thing. And that's why I got them all coming together in the hand. So when you grab a hold of all of that and push forward with that strength, bro, that's a whole nother type of force right there, you know?
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just can tell you're a creative.
Yeah.
Like that's a theme that's going through your entire story. You just muted yourself. I don't know if you meant to do that, but I'm gonna keep talking to you. You got it. So it's a theme throughout your entire story so far, where it's like I got to come up with creative ways of making money. I'm gonna do the DVDs. Hey, here's a cool way where I can like start. I can like hire people in, I don't know where it was, like the Philippines or Nicaragua, and then like outsource it to AT&T and Sprint, I think is what you said. And then coming up with the creative symbols of like the hand, this, I'm doing it wrong, like the two peace signs, like, and it's cool to see your creativity and like what you're talking about right now, because you understand, and this is something I also have picked up on, is the power of symbols. Instead of just saying something, like actually creating an image in people's mind of like what it means. So it's just something I'm picking up on, man. I don't know if you thought about like, I'm just curious, have you thought about like how important those symbols are and like what they mean to you and like why you do it?
Yeah, it's not only the brain recognition, but it's the connection, right? The brain, and you can see something, and you can see the simple, and and now you'll remember everything I said, or you'll feel some type of connection to it.
Have you noticed that in the people that you talk to?
When I see it and I tell them like, yo, bro, that's it, right? And then Zach Keeps, he gave me a tagline, right? We was talking to Zach Keeps out in Arizona, and I was like, hey, man, I would just tell him like, because I met him, it's my second time meeting him. And I didn't know who Zach Keeps is. He's just so down to earth, you don't realize how high level he is, right? You don't know. So when I met second time, we just had a more deeper conversation about things too. And he was like, yo, what that mean? And I told him, like, be present. I said, bro, I like it. You know, it's like the tagline, because it made sense, because it's what I'm saying, like here now. Like, and when you hear be present, like when you manifest into, you always got to be aware of your thoughts, right? Got to control it. That's important. Your thoughts and frequencies and stuff like that. So when we said be present, I said, bro, I like it. It goes along with what I think: visualization, manifestation, faith, all of that. So yeah, and he gave me that. So yeah, I did think of that. It's the connection. When you see sub 2, we know what it is. You know the type of power that holds, right? So when you see wind, I want it to be that same effect, and that's what he kind of drilled inside of me.
I love it. It's cool. So I'm gonna switch gears here a little bit, because I have a feeling you have an opinion on this, and I just like hearing people's different perspectives on this, because I can tell you're that type where you're not letting fear hold you back.
No, 100%.
Like ever. You're like, dude, we're just gonna go head first into something and we're just gonna do it. How much of that do you think it's possible to teach someone, or is most of it just kind of like inner bred, or like you're born with it?
No, it can come. I believe anything can be rewired. 100%. The mind is a thing that's can be expanded. Just like the body. Your body has 30 billion cells that die out and change out every day. So what is that saying about your mind? And your mind can actually have an effect on that. Your mind has an effect on your body. So if you can change the way you think, it's just like rehabilitation of something, right? You can be rehab from something. So if you have something that's you fear stuff from something you don't know, that's where fear comes from. It comes from know it. So when you are aware of it, you have this knowledge of it, you gain just more confidence. So that's what I mean by how you create an impact. My goal is to create an impact on people by showing them the things that's already there. This is literally what you love to do. This you just don't know how to do it. So let me show you. In order to change your situation, this knowledge is going to help it, which is going to remove fear about what it is, whether you fear of poverty, fear of loss, fear of everything. It goes away. Like I don't have that. I don't fear stuff like I just don't, It's just about a God. That's it. That's the only person that's like, oh yeah, 100%. But other than that, people and things and situations, no.
So how do you rewire it? How do you rewire your brain to not worry and have fears and stuff?
Information, man. It's it.
Mm,
It's basically identifying first what makes you afraid. It's about knowing yourself. If you have no idea who you are and you just swayed by whatever, you just like the foam on the top of the seat. Those little bubbles is taking you everywhere. But once
mhm.
you have a rooted in who you are as a person, right, you're gonna make mistakes. You may do things that don't align with it at times, but your core being is like, yo, that wasn't right. And you check yourself and you switch it and it become like you bodybuilding. Now you strong and that thing comes again, it'll never happen again. Ever because now you built up and you're away from that thing. So that's how you do it. It's first identifying who you are. What do that person is? Like for myself, I know I'm strong already inside. So when these situations arise, I'm gonna stand up, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm calm under pressure. It can be the whole stuff going crazy around it. I'm gonna think throughout all of these things instead of just moving. Cause you can literally get smashed doing that, right? You can run into something else while you're trying to get out of the way of harm.
Right.
Identifying those things within yourself and then tapping in with someone that can help you pull that out if you don't have
Okay.
to do it.
So spelling it out. Step one, identify what's actually making you afraid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
One,
then step two is finding somebody who knows how to solve the problem, or like what was step two, you think?
identifying it, like whatever that fear is, because
Right.
every you may have it at some point. So, what is calling you anxiety? What makes you not want to chase your dreams? What is that? It's something, right?
Mhm.
It can be your childhood trauma you may need to address. Right?
Right. So not just okay, so we're talking about like because what I was thinking of when you were saying that was like identify, are you scared of cold calling? You mean identify what about your life
Well, one,
makes you afraid of cold calling?
yeah, because think about it. Cold calling. You can't do nothing to me on this podcast. You can't touch.
Right.
But why would I be afraid? Something has
Right.
made you be like that. You just need to identify what
Interesting.
that thing was, right? And when somebody can tell you, like somebody, like I tell my VA, like just imagine this person can do nothing to you, and they're not mad at you. They're mad at somebody else. So if they like, oh, I don't want to be no one to be upset with me and stuff like that. Say no, they're not. So that person has an issue of they like to please. It's basically what it is.
Right.
They like to please and like people to be nice to them. They like to make people feel comfortable. So nurturing that part of them to make it now translate through the phone call. When you're talking to these people, let that come out. That's kind of how I get them up to the certain type of level.
I love it. Is it like, do you have an example of when you've done that before? Because this is the whole podcast, right? The whole name is Scorch the Fears. So what
Mm-hmm.
I love when we get into this, where I'm like, all right, what's a process that somebody might be able to use in order to like get them over whatever they were dealing with so they can achieve their dreams?
It's literally like, for an example, I'll give you a real today one. Like when I had a VA on, I just out the blue threw her out there, like, cause I'm setting up this whole virtual assistant company. Somebody been
Right.
towards, and so I was like, "Hey, how long you been on?" She told me. Then she literally a couple days into this. So I said, "Hey, I got this lead, right? And I'm about to just let you call it. It's a warm lead, right? So still act like you're getting the 4 pillars, like you don't know this is a warm lead though. So it's
Mhm.
gonna be an easy one, really. So, but she was super nervous, right? I said, "What you nervous for?" So I identified, like, okay, she thinking that she's going to make mistakes. She thinks she under the gun. It's pressure. So I removed it. So as the person is trying to help somebody, you got to know how to readily identify what's happening with the thing or person that you trying to help. Hers
Mhm.
was pressure. There was all these people watching. We was on Zoom. I got the team on there, and I'm like, "Hey, don't
Oh,
worry."
okay. So she was cold calling and then everybody's watching. Is that why?
They was watching.
Gotcha.
And even when she's not, you can tell she's nervous. Cause she said it. When I don't, I'm nervous. I say, I ain't no use to be nervous. And then I broke down why you shouldn't. They
Mhm.
they can't. They're not mad at you. They don't even know you, right? These people have
Right.
people calling them. So I was identifying all these things and knocking down these negatives that got in her head about cold calling, right? Every deal is not going to be a deal. Every call is not a slam dunk. So once you got that out the way, she was ready to go. I even had the rest of the ones like pumped, like, yeah, Chad, I'm ready. And they never did nothing. So by them hearing her and me giving her that speech, it pulled something out of them.
I
So
love it.
as a leader, you gotta have it. You gotta know how to not only rally the troops, but pull stuff out of them that they know that they don't even recognize is inside of them, you know.
I love it. I love that so much. So I'm curious. That's one for somebody else, but I'll start with an example for me too. So this was one that I literally realized um at the mastermind. It was one that I was like thinking about. It wasn't even Paige told me exactly what it was, but I started realizing how dumb this was and where it was coming from. So when I was at the mastermind, I was like, I literally wrote down on the board when we were doing like our hot seats, like
Mhm.
what like a fear that was holding me back, and it was like the fear of spending money, right? And this was becoming a problem in my business. Like I had been generating wholesale deals and I had a ton of money, but I was like, I don't want to spend it in order to escalate the business because I'm scared, right? I'm scared that I'm not going to be able to take care of myself. I'm scared that I'm going to be, back with my parents and like how embarrassing that would be when everybody thinks I'm doing so good. But I'm like, now do I look fake to everybody else? And realizing that like some of it, like the spending the money, like that one came from my childhood because that was something that like a lot of my parents taught me was like, yo, like be really careful with money, make sure you have enough, save it. And it was interesting to like recognize that. And then once I recognize it, I'm like, all right, no, like that's dumb. Like we have to move past that in order to achieve the dreams, because how the hell am I going to make millions of dollars a year not spending money? That's like impossible. Like you have to spend money. I
Mhm.
don't know. Like I'm just curious if there was ever any aha moments on your journey so far where there's something like, damn, like I learned that when I was growing up and that's holding me back right now and I need to get through it.
No, I think my childhood was a thing of it actually helps it, you know. It ain't a thing of like even a lack of was never like a lack of because it was so much abundance of us and love and
I love it.
all of this stuff. So when you get it, now some of us do, right? Because I recognize that they come from that and they don't want to lose it, so they hoard it, right? And it does nothing for them, right? Saving it, putting up, losing money, spending it because it's sitting in there. But for me, it's like, okay, I got this money, like literally sitting some money sitting here, so I'm trying to deploy it into something else to make it grow. And that's something I had to learn because one, I didn't have that financial literacy conversations at the table, right? It was just like, yeah, what you just said, get it, save it. So I got good at that. I get money and I could put it up. I won't spend it, you know.
Right.
But now I understand real estate, like to get it and then put it back into something because it's legal and it can make money and turn it over. Oh man, if I got something, I'm gonna put it in it, right? And then I give too, not to the point where it hurts, but to the point where you can help out every now and then, and that's kind of what it is. But it was never that though. The thing of I need to get it to build it up until I put it into something 100%. But just to say, okay, I'm gonna have this 50,000. I'm trying to move this 50,000. This 50,000 need to go into something. So I'm
Right.
literally talking about a real situation right now. So
Yeah.
I'm literally like, yo, I need to put this 50 into something because he's losing money. Inflation is killing us. So
Right.
to put it in something to hedge against it. But yeah, man, it wasn't my childhood literally prepped me for this stuff right here.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are definitely moments like that too, like something like I definitely remember like my parents constantly telling me I can do anything I put my mind to, and that just helped so much. That was I was like that's the at least for me, like my greatest privilege was like I had parents who were like, you can do anything, because then it's like, all right, well, I can do anything. Let's go. Let's try some crazy shit.
100%. And that's what it was with us, man. Like
Yeah.
you can do whatever you want. We gonna go against the system. That's
Yeah, bro.
nonsense, right?
We're gonna create the system.
Yeah, exactly. Create it. Yep. That's it.
I
Exactly.
love it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is another question I love asking people because it always intrigues me. If you now, Chad Glover, as you are right now, could go back to you in 2019, or maybe not even 2019. I might even go back as far as like when you really started doing entrepreneurial stuff. I mean, it sounds like you were doing it your entire life, so that might be too far. Let's
Yeah.
go with let's go with when you started doing real estate. What would you say now? Or sorry, what would you say to your past self knowing what you know now?
That's a heavy one right there. Cause it's literally because my mind it never shifts back like that. It's always like, okay, what can I do for this? Cause I don't change it. I love it. all the losses, all the losses wasn't losses, they was actually lessons. So they built me up for this. And I can't say what I would change. I would have a conversation like and just tell myself one thing though. In them times that this wasn't happening, like even though I'd already seen like, bro, it's coming, like you good. Like just stay the course, basically. And that's what I did back then. So the stuff I would tell myself now is what I told myself back then, if that makes sense.
Damn.
Yeah. It's literally like, yo, it's coming like 100%. I used to tell my wife, a long time ago say like I'm a champion. Like literally, like you ever forget that, we ain't gonna be just joking there, but yo, don't ever forget that. You know, before all of this stuff, so it's about confidence and knowing without a doubt the vision you had is real. That's the key point. So I can't say myself changing it. Everything I did is whether it was good in the eyes of others or bad in the eyes of others, in sight of others. Man, I wouldn't change it because it made me today be so much of a person that's real genuine, and I'm with you 100% if I'm with you. So I don't know. That's a tough one, bro. I basically say the same thing. Yo, it's gonna be all right because I knew it was 100%.
I love that, man. Yeah, like it is interesting how often like people just say I'd say the exact same thing to myself. Like it like literally like I wouldn't have changed a dang thing. And
Yeah.
I love hearing it. I love doing these interviews with people who like have that perspective because I feel like I'd be pretty similar. The one thing I might tell myself is like stop freaking out so much because like I would freak out a lot and I'd be like I need to like chill out for a second. But yeah, man, it's cool to hear. I freaking love it. What are your goals right now? Like what are you trying to achieve right now?
Right now, I like the funding. I'm integrating this whole system that I'm making tell you offline. I don't want to get too deep on it right here.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I haven't put it all into the mix. So it's literally gonna be a place of funding for people, as well as like I get people all the time that's new and trying to get them something to basically if they got 9 to 5s, it allow them to work their 9 to 5 while they pivot off into real estate, but keep this thing moving. So working on that as well as my disposition and my partnership that I just got newly.
The reason why I was asking was I love always like trying to give back value to the guests that came on to my podcast. And so what I'm really asking is like how can people help you right now? Like if there's a viewer on here who's like, man, I want to learn from this guy.
Oh,
But I need to give value first. How do I do it?
I think it would be more than anything is hopping on a call or inboxing me. I can even give my number out to the masses. I don't care. I give it on social media all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, learning what you want, right? Once I identify what you want as the individual, I know how I can integrate you into things that I would like to do. Because my
Interesting.
long term, right? So if you want to build long term, okay, I can teach you how to close this deal. But now I can teach you how to be a partner with me on other business ventures. So if you had that entrepreneur spirit and you truly trying to learn either real estate or other type of business ventures, I'd love to have you inside the team. If you want to, I took the stairs. I'm all firm believer in the stairs, right?
What is that? What is the stir?
Meaning, meaning that I'd rather take the stairs instead of the elevator, right?
Oh, I got you. I'd
Yeah,
rather work hard. I'd rather take the harder way so you know how to do it.
I want to know the processes. And I'm gonna tell you a story real fast. I know we hit the time, but I had a,
No, we got time, dude. I always go over. Tell
okay,
the story.
yeah, I had an Airbnb deal, right? And I trusted, well, I still do trust 100%. And they was new. They never heard an Airbnb deal. We was about to get it. One second, let me get my thing. Yeah, so my thing was going out. That's why I keep trying to hit it.
No worries.
But I wish I was still on my computer, but my office was there. But I had Airbnb. I didn't comp it. I just looked at the figures. Like, yo, this thing will make $8,000 a month or so. I said, okay, shoot, we ain't gotta pay them $2,800 a month. I said, perfect. But when I sent it out and I was about to get the funding for it, and even then I was about to just pay it. Like I know people just a cardinal sin, basically. It don't fund stuff. But I was going to
Right.
fund because I didn't want to. I feel like why I want to just use money if I got it here. I ain't got nothing to do with it anyway. That's what my thinking was on it. And I just get my money back out of it if I need it. So what happened was the deal was that it was hold on, let me put this in. It wasn't going to work, right? It was at the point where hold on, let me take this out, bro. I'm trying to get production right now, bro.
You look fine, bro. Like you don't got to change anything, honestly.
Okay.
Like you're looking good right now. Everything
All right.
looks good. Just keep going with the story.
All right. So once I learned, when she pulled the thing up, right, and I got them looking at it, they were like, bro, this thing is gonna be like not good, basically. It wasn't
The
gonna
deal was
work.
gonna be bad.
Right. But how did I get in that situation? Because for one, I did not do it myself. I helped somebody do it. I took their numbers, their word, their whatever, and I never tried to learn it. So now my thing is I gotta learn this Airbnb thing. I gotta do this. And that's why I like taking the stairs. That time I took the elevator, I just delegated it without knowing nothing. It immediately let me know, don't do it.
Well,
Don't
you
mess.
also took a broken elevator, which is also an issue.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to take a broken elevator either.
Right. Right. 100%. The elevator was
That's a
broke.
big issue.
Yeah, the elevator was broke to start with, bro. So 100%.
I
Yeah.
love it, bro.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's what I mean, man. If you got people that's really trying to get to it like that, I'm with you. Like I can take you from nothing into wherever you want to go. If you got that hustle and drive, 100%, I can do that. I done
I
did it.
love it.
So
I
yeah,
love it.
I got tons of different compartments and departments they can fit in, from the business side of handling and management to closing deals to partnering up. So definitely reach out if you definitely interested.
I love it, bro. So how do the people reach you?
You can hit my Instagram, Chad Glover _ uh, you can DM me there.
Hey, Chad _ Glover, or is it
No,
Glover under your
Chad
full name
Glover.
then underscore after?
Yeah, with an underscore afterwards.
Okay.
And cell phone, you can get that too. 704-500-5195. And just text me. Let's have a conversation. And I got plenty compartments and departments to stick you at, 100%. So if you're really ready to get to it and make something happen, reach out, man. Like I'm looking for people taking with me. The million isn't even that's the default, but man, it's like you get 5 properties, you basically a million. That's why I tell people a millionaire is not it. Don't think like that. Everybody that tell you that, that's I ain't gonna say a red flag. It's just they don't know a lot about that yet. They don't have that thing.
They don't have the mindset right. They don't understand that a million's nothing.
Yeah, 100%. It's not
That's
it.
just it. Because you like hear that when you're growing up. It's like, man, $1 million. That'd be amazing.
100%. It looked beautiful because you're a kid with lollipops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have nothing. So it's like $1 million. Whoa, your eyes get big. But once you get 100,000, it's like, okay, I just need to repeat this 10 times. You know. Now
Right.
I get a property worth 100, 200,000. I need to get this 5 more times. You know.
Right.
So yeah, it's not that ain't it. Billion now is something different or something like that. That's now you can help a ton of people. The money is not what I focus on 100%. It's the people. So $1 billion, why do I need that? Why is that a number? $1 billion worth of something? Because how many people I'm trying to actually assist? What type of bandwidth I need for that? You know, try doing something without money. That's the key. People say, "Oh, I don't need it. Money ain't everything." Okay, try doing it without it. That's it. You know.
Right. This is like a very interesting topic. Like I kind of want to get into it too, because I used to have this perspective that why would I ever want to be a billionaire? Like that's so much money. I could never like what I could never spend it if I wanted to. Like what's even the point? I get to 10 million and I'm like pretty goddamn good. I could buy whatever I want.
100%.
And you're getting into it a little bit, but I kind of want you to keep going. Like why should somebody or why would anybody want to become a billionaire? Because I feel like non-entrepreneurs don't get it.
It's truly like what you want. You know, it's just like I said earlier. If you want to be a CEO of something, that's your style. That means you have a lot of responsibilities. You're watching all the money to care for you, the top of the thing, outside of the actual owner, right? So if you want to be the one at the desk that's comfortable, that get the 401k, that has the pension, that has the medical benefits from the job and all of that, the 9 to 5, just structure life, the classic American dream ideology that they placed in our minds, that's perfectly 100% fine. But for those that's entrepreneur, those that want to say, hey, it ain't just about me and my family, right? It's about others out there that I know
Right.
touch. So now that's when the money start coming into play, right? Just like we just described $1 million in just this form that we dealing with, we know that that can't do but a fraction of what it can actually help.
Basically impact. That's what you're saying,
It's
right? Like
the
if you want to
impact.
have an impact.
It's the impact, bro. 100%. That's my whole goal. My goal is not to influence you. You can get influence from anywhere. You can get inspiration from anywhere. But to make an impact, I have shifted something inside of you. I done made you not only think it, but now act on it. So once you act and constantly do something, it becomes a habit. It has changed you in some form, you know? And that's the whole goal. That's one of my goals right there. So if it be one or the 7 point something billion, I'm gonna be content with what it is, but that don't mean that I'm gonna stop at that one, right? I'm gonna be grateful for the one and everything and not and stay humble and not prideful about it, like, oh, look what I did and all that. No, no, no. It's still humble, still being me, and still moving the way I move. But I just know it's more, 100%, Because if not, if it was me, I've been not even, I probably wouldn't even be on this podcast, actually, because this is a part of it. You have a wide group of people. So now they know more about me and know that, hey, I can tap in and help them. And by me tackling one person, this one person may touch 10. So now I
Right.
11 people out of the way of this billion out of reach, billion people reach. So yeah, man, that's it. It's truly impact. Just what you said, that one word.
I love it so much. Cool, bro. All right, dude. So I think I'm about to wrap it up. Is there anything else, any last things you'd like to say to the people? Anything you want to offer? Any last words?
I would say keep going. What you
Mm,
doing with today is, I promise you, your today's reality is only your past thoughts and actions. That's it. So that means if your past thoughts and actions have changed, is doing what it's causing today, that means right now, in this moment, you change your thoughts, you act different, your future changes 100%. Your belief have to have tremendous faith, not only 100% faith in the creative you are, and 100% in faith in you 100%. So it has to move in according to what your thoughts and actions is. Keep going. You right there. You only fail when you quit. That's the truth. And you can never fail unless you quit. So reach out to me if you definitely want any help with real estate or any other business ventures, and I can help you out with that. And just mindset. Jonah got that really locked up, really good with it. That I didn't even know that, y'all, about him being mindset. We was on the mountain actually
You weren't expecting this, were you?
right. Because my thing was Jonah going Jonah. I told him that a long time
Yeah,
ago.
I love that. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, because your personality, man, you good people. We like
Yeah.
flashed that first time we met, like this joker here.
Yeah, bro. I mean, you're just a dope dude, and I just love hanging out with you. That's also part of the reason why I wanted you on this podcast. Is just it's fun, bro. It's
Yeah,
always a good time.
100%, man. Same, likewise.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. Episode 19 with the chat with Mr. Chad Glover. Amazing. Follow him. What's your YouTube channel, bro? I know you're
Wholesaling,
active on there.
yeah, wholesaling to win by Chad Glover. And
Wholesaling to
yeah,
Win by Chad Glover.
and
All
it's
right.
really raw. I have a free course on that wholesaling 100%. It's WHN. Sorry. WHN. It's pronounced
W
win.
Wholesaling. Oh, like your hat.
Yeah. Yeah. So it got a free course on there. I'm trying to, like I say, get a game. It's really, really raw.
Yeah,
And
right.
about it, yeah. I got somebody helping me out, do more content. Well, get it more polished, I would say.
I love it.
Get it out there more, man. But cool.
Cool. All right. Episode 19, Scorch the Fears. Let's go.
Let's go.
I'll see y'all next week.
All right, man. Later.